Can anyone still blame Will Smith for turning down being in this movie? He took one look at this script and said, nope. Independence Day Resurgence, starring Liam Hemsworth, Jeff Goldblum, Bill Pullman, Jessie T Usher, Maika Monroe, and directed by Roland Emmerich. The film is the sequel to the 1996 giant blockbuster Independence Day. It tells the story of a new alien invasion set 20 years in the future, where the Earth has been preparing for another attack. The Earth has been at peace since the previous invasion, and all of mankind has worked in harmony to prepare for the next battle. I was on board with this film from the first trailer. I love the first Independence Day. Not because it is a good movie, but because it is a fun 90s action science fiction adventure. Resurgence tries to capture some of that lost 90s magic, but it just misses the mark. The action in the movie is still really well done, and I enjoyed watching the film. I also laughed out loud on numerous occasions when the story makes zero sense. The film is going to be a guilty pleasure of mine, because while it is not a good movie, I can sadly see myself watching it again. Maybe it has something to do with the expectations I had going into the film. I wasn't expecting a great film. I wasn't even expecting a good one from what I saw in the trailers. I just wanted to watch aliens blow up for 2 hours. For the most part, that is exactly what I got, because the story is the weakest part of the movie. The first Independence Day had a weak story in parts as well, but nothing to the degree of Resurgence. There are characters and stories in the film that could have been completely cut out, and the movie would have been a little bit shorter and probably better. Judd Hirst is a great example of this. Yes, I'm glad we got to see Jeff Goldblum's character's father again, but his story is a total waste in the film. It wasn't needed, and every time they would flash to his story, I kept expecting it to pay off, but it never did. It almost seemed Emmerich wanted to have the exact same number of stories he had in the original, and doggedly kept to this number. At least Hirst did well playing the role. Going into the film, the acting was what I was most worried about. I felt the old actors, like Goldblum and Pullman, would handle their roles well, but I wasn't sure about the young cast. Maybe it was my extremely low expectations, but I wasn't bothered by anyone's performance. No performance was as bad as any live-action character in the Warcraft movie. And going into the film, I was expecting those type of cringe-worthy performances. I thought the worst of the bunch was Usher, who played Dylan Hiller. But it was just kind of a bland character overall, and he did a serviceable job. I actually found myself enjoying Liam Hemsworth's character. His character was one-dimensional, but he did a good job in the role and was charismatic. Hemsworth wasn't given much to work with the script or story, and I can't fault him for that. He did the best with what he had, which I think most of the cast did. I think the standout of any performance was Maika Monroe, who played Patricia Whitmore. I liked her interactions and believability in the story, except for a few scenes with Bill Pullman. I was let down the most by some of the older cast. Goldblum did a passable job playing David Levitson again, but how he was used in the story was almost a total waste. They also don't have Margaret Collin, who played his wife in the original, in this movie. Emmerich doesn't bring her up at all, which is a huge misstep in the story. That was a major plotline in the first movie, and not to mention it at all is extremely poor storytelling. At least say she died of cancer, or is in China as a government liaison. Just something. The movie was obviously playing to the Chinese market. They could have easily pandered to them again with this as well. Don't get me wrong, having a diverse cast is a good thing. The film has an inclusive cast, and that is one thing the movie gets right. Resurgence feels like it is a world struggle against the aliens, and just not the Americans leading the charge. Granted, everyone still looks to the American president to make the ultimate call, but hey, we did figure out how to bring down the first alien mothership, so we should have the final say. Shouldn't we? I just didn't like the overt product placement trying to sell to the Chinese market. But I don't like overt product placement trying to sell to the American market. I don't mind product placement in movies, just don't make it glaring. Independence Day Resurgence isn't a good movie. I did have fun watching it though, and I could see myself guiltily watching it again for a good laugh. Everyone who complains or hates on this movie is going to be justified, because it isn't good. It includes stories and characters it shouldn't. and has way too many convenient coincidences to overlook. The finale is drawn out too long, and the emotional payoff is nowhere near as satisfying as the original. That being said, for me the movie was still worth seeing, because I love the first movie. For most people, don't bother, unless you just love pure action. I can't see another sequel happening, but we'll see how the movie performs here and internationally. Tell me what you think of Independence Day Resurgence, if you made it out to see it. What is your favorite 90s action film? Comment and let me know. Subscribe, like, share, and all that fun stuff. Thanks for watching.